There was a billboard put up just outside of Birmingham, Alabama recently. It was put up by white supremacists and segregationists. And it says, diversity means chasing down the last white person. And then at the bottom it says, hashtag white genocide. Here's my response to this story. I'm sorry, black people. I mean that too. I'm so sorry. Look at what minorities have to deal with in America. These fucking goofballs putting up fucking billboards talking about white genocide. White genocide. White genocide. Could you imagine if the racial situations were reversed in this country, and in the Twilight Zone, black people were the ones that imposed slavery and segregation and Jim Crow on white people? White people would have long ago, tried to fucking uprise and start a literal war. But when they're not oppressed, they act like they're oppressed. And spare me this white guilt bullshit that conservatives always try to throw at me when I talk about these things. To acknowledge the reality of black-white relations in America is not white guilt. It's intelligence. It's understanding facts and being honest about the facts. And look, man, there's something about what a lot of conservative white people have done. They've morphed their brain into thinking that they're the oppressed. And right now, I feel, you know how they always say to moderate Muslims after a terrorist attack that a Muslim does? They say, are you going to apologize for the fundamentalist Muslims? Well, today, I'm a moderate white person apologizing for fundamentalist white people. How about that? And what black people should do is they should come out and say, look at this billboard. I don't see very many moderate white people coming out and condemning this billboard. I guess they agree with it. I guess they all think there's a white genocide going on. And I guess they all think that white people are oppressed. I'd love to see it flipped back on white people for once. Because white people always do it. We always do it to minorities. I don't know how they did it. But the people who are historically the oppressors have convinced themselves that they are the oppressed. And how many studies have we gone over that prove that it's obvious that black people are the ones who have been let down systemically and economically and who have been oppressed and still to this day are oppressed to a large extent. I mean, look at just the net worth numbers. The average white person, their net worth is about $141,000. For black people, it's $11,000. That is a symptom. That is a byproduct of a system that kept them down for hundreds of years. There was slavery for hundreds of years, and then after a Jim Crow and segregation, and there are black men alive today who lived under that system, and they're still alive today. And people act like, black people should have already totally overridden the circumstance, right? Or else, and if they didn't, they're inferior. Well, motherfucker, think of it like a foot race. It's a 100-yard dash, and white people dashed 80 yards to the finish line, and then when they got there, they turned around and said, all right, black people, you could start. And then when black people don't reach the 100-yard line as quick as white people do, they're like, oh, look, they're inferior genetically. See, we're just better than them. And then they put up signs. They put up signs saying how diversity means chasing down the last white person. And it's hashtag white genocide. White genocide. We run this country, you morons. The overwhelming majority of business owners and CEOs and CFOs and people in government, white males. But somehow they've convinced themselves that, the women are oppressing the men and the black people are oppressing the white people, and we're not in the Twilight Zone where we make shit up and we're whiny little punk bitches. That's exactly what it is. You're whiny little punk bitches.